You are listening to Peak One Sports.
Happy Saturday and welcome to the Leadoff on the Peak One Sports Network. I'm Ashton Nix, flying solo today. Tony and Landon are out of town, out of state, chasing those baseball tournaments. And I'm here to get you ready for your sports weekend. Thank you for tuning in, however you're listening. We have a pair of Game 5s to talk about, good and bad, depending on who you were a fan of, I guess. We'll talk Mavs and Stars, obviously. But first, say goodbye to unruly behavior and hello to a well-mannered pup. The Dapper Dog Academy stands out as a top-notch canine training institute located in Cleburne and serving the DFW Metroplex. We just started private lessons here at my house with our golden retriever, and we can already see some of the issues that he's having, and we're able to deal with those pretty quickly, so we can work with him all week before his next lesson next week. So they do a great job. You can contact Korri at the Dapper Dog Academy or on Facebook to call and schedule a consultation today. All the info is in the description box below. Again, thank you for listening. However you're listening, if you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, if you're listening to this later on the podcast platform, we just appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to listen to all of our shows. Not only we have the Leadoff on Saturdays, we have the sports page on Wednesday nights. We have our hockey podcast, Shut the Puck Up. We have a lot of shows coming, a lot of game streaming that's about to come up with this new college football game coming out in a couple of months. Just stay tuned. Don't worry. Hit that subscribe button just so you know anytime we go live, a show drops, anything like that. We're going to talk Dallas Mavs. The Mavs move on to the NBA Finals. The Mavs beat the T-Wolves 124-103. Although that score isn't really indicate on how much of a one-sided game that was there in Game 5. Luka got hot early. He scored 20 points in the first quarter. He finished with 36 points, 10 rebounds. Kyrie, a little bit opposite, started off slow. He only had 4 points in the first, but ended up getting hot in the second half. He finishes with 36 as well. Kyrie and Luka have both scored 30 points 4 times in this playoff run. There's only one duo who has more 30-point games in one playoff run. That's Elgin Baylor and Jerry West. They did it twice, but you have to go all the way back to the 1960s to see that. So a lot of not unprecedented, because obviously it's happened before, but a lot of things, more recently that hasn't happened in the last 50 years, 60 years now. Is doing a lot of cool stuff. And that's how it's been for Luka and Kyrie. They're kind of like a 1-2 punch. Luka, for the most part of the season, led the league in first quarter scoring, and Kyrie led the league in fourth quarter scoring. So it's kind of like Luka starts it for you and Kyrie ends it. And that's really how this game was. Although Luka stayed hot most of the game, and was able to shoot some 3-point daggers to really keep them out of it. But I think more in the fourth quarter, I don't want to say the T-Wolves were coming back, but the Mavs did have like a 36-point lead, and it got down to about 23. It's still a big lead, but momentum, if you can get it under 20. But every time Minnesota would get a 3-pointer, it seemed like that Kyrie would go and get a 3-pointer right back a couple of times in the fourth quarter, just to keep it out of range for Minnesota to come back. Lively returned for this game. He missed Game 4 with a neck strain. It looked like he might have re-injured that, taking a shot to the head. I don't know if it was in the first quarter, but it was pretty early on in Game 5. He was able to get up, shoot his free throws. He did finish the game out. Luckily, though, he does have about a week off now before the NBA finals start. So hopefully he can get all 100% healed. Same with Luka, because Luka's been dealing with some knee injury. You can see the knee cover he has like late in the game. You can see the blood coming through. And not that he's the most gingerly runner anyways, but it seems like he's been limping a lot more throughout the playoffs. So this is much needed rest for both of them. And just trying to regroup, especially since the Celtics swept their Eastern Conference Final Series. So they get a lot of rest. You'd like to know that the Mavericks can get similar rest. It's hard to explain how important Derek Lively is to this team coming off the bench. I mean, we saw in Game 4, although Luka and Kyrie really struggled in Game 4, and I think that was mainly the difference. But Derek Lively missing Game 4, you had to play Dwight Powell a lot more. Gafford doesn't get as much rest unless Dwight Powell's on the floor. You have to worry about foul trouble with him. With Derek Lively and Gafford, you don't worry about foul trouble as much because you'll just keep rotating them back and forth. I think different players, like Gafford's definitely more aggressive and he's going to get you a lot more blocks, but I think their presence as big men are very equal. Derek Lively being just a rookie has shown, it's been a big surprise how quickly he's shown he can be important, not only throughout the season, but through the playoffs. Because I know a lot of people like the Derek Lively pick, but thought, man, he's 2-3 years away from really helping this team out. So it's great to see him go, do that. I mean, going from a team where Dwight Powell was your starting center to start the year. Starting the year you thought, he did start before Derek Lively, where Derek Lively's kind of molded into that starter. Then the trade deadline, you get Gafford in Washington as well. You go from basically having no dominant centers to two. That helps you out, and it helps Gafford play a lot more aggressively with Lively in the lineup. And, of course, keeps Powell on the bench. Nothing against Dwight Powell. Is a great guy, but playoff basketball, I'm sure he's trying as hard as he can, but he's just not the guy you need on the court. Moving on to the NBA Finals, you're going to face the Boston Celtics. I'm not going to get too deep on this series because we're going to preview this series on Wednesday night on the sports page. It'll be the night before the finals start. But what I will say is winning this series is going to be a tall task for the Mavs. As much as we like to talk about Luka and Kyrie being an amazing backcourt duo, I know some people said the best in history. The Celtics have four guys that can combat Luka and Kyrie. You have Tatum and Brown, obviously, Drew Holiday, Derek White, and even Porzingis. Porzingis is injured. I'm not sure the timetable if he's going to be ready for Game 1. I know they said he will be ready for the finals at some point, and they get the week off anyways, so he might be in. But he's put together a really nice season. He's putting up the numbers he did in Dallas, but not missing all the time he did. Not counting the Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, he's missing some time, so that's something the Mavericks are going to have to deal with. But I think it's going to be a great series if Kyrie kind of returning to Boston. He played for Boston for a couple of seasons. Porzingis returning to Dallas. We'll see how the fans are receptive to both of those guys in their respective towns. All right, let's move on to the bad. Game 5 last night, the Stars lose at home 3-1. The Oilers take a 3-2 lead heading back to Edmonton. This was not a close game. Kind of reminded me of the Mavericks Timberwolves Game 5, just the opposite. Dallas was Minnesota in this scenario. The Oilers took an early 3-0 lead. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I'm not a big hockey guy, but Ryan Nugent-Hopkins getting 2 of the 3 Edmonton goals. Wyatt Johnston did score the Lone Stars goal in the third, but it was too little too late. So heading back to Edmonton, Game 6. it's do or die now for the Stars. It's the first time they've been down 3-2 this season. Luckily, they have been one of the best road teams this year, looking to keep their season alive. Force a Game 7 come back to Dallas for Game 7. I guess that would be Tuesday. But Game 6 in Edmonton is tomorrow. Luckily, I say luckily, it's been a nice break. Tonight's going to be the first night that you haven't had a Dallas playoff game in a while. I know the first couple of series for the Stars and the Mavericks, they were playing on the same night. And then for the Western Conference Finals, I guess it would have been, they both finished Game 5s. So 10 days straight of playoff basketball and hockey. It's been great, but, we have a nice break. We can just chill tonight, catch some Panthers and Rangers hockey as well. Game 6 is tonight. That series, Panthers are up 3-2. So I guess if you're looking forward, assuming the Stars come back and win Game 7 to move on to the Stanley Cup final, we're rooting for the New York Rangers, because if you're gonna go to the final, you don't want the Panthers to go ahead and win it and have all that extra rest. So I think right now we're rooting for the New York Rangers to tie up that series, so the Stars can tie it up tomorrow and kind of just be one game behind. If it's me, I'm wanting the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup final. If the Stars can, not look too far ahead, the Stars do need to win tomorrow and then win again. Like I said, I guess it would be Tuesday. I think against the Panthers, I actually think the Panthers are the better team. I think it's easier to go to Florida and play rather than playing in Madison Square Garden in an NHL final situation. Although the Stars, again, have been the best road team, they're going to have to show that and win tomorrow and then win at home in Game 7. But to me, I think that's the easier matchup just because of you're relying on winning on the road. You're reliant on winning on the road. So let me pull up this stat real quick. I forgot to implement it into my notes, but I do have the screenshot. It should tell you how bad the Stars. I did not back this up, but it was from a reliable source saying the Dallas Stars, before Wyatt Johnson's goal, had gone 94 minutes and 31 seconds without a goal, which is ridiculous because this is a pretty strong offensive team. Since they scored 3 goals in 3 minutes and 33 seconds in Game 5 to come back, or I guess it was Game 4. In Game 4 to come back. So a bit surprising. I mean, if you're not going to score a lot of goals, Ottinger hasn't been on his game lately. Something's been off with him. So I mean, both of those things can't go out the door at the same time. Obviously, if you're going to give up a lot of goals, you have to score a lot of goals, and vice versa. So hopefully they can get things together, force a Game 7, and we'll go from there. Check out the sports page Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time live. And we'll be talking about the end of that series one way or the other, because that's Wednesday night. Game 7 should be Tuesday night. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that. I'm just doing my math every other day. So we should either be talking about, we'll be talking about a Stars win or loss, hopefully a Game 7, just to make it a little more interesting. Don't bet with your gut. Check out Betalytics and get help at making your picks using their AI algorithms. You're a big better. This is the tool you need to have. Don't use your gut. Trust me, anytime I've done it, it's screwed me over. Use promo code PEAK1 for 25% off when you sign up today. Go to betalytics.com to start betting smarter. Okay, so Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, Netflix fight this summer, July 20th. No, it's been postponed. Mike Tyson had a health scare on a flight earlier this week. A flight from Miami to LA had it was resulting from an ulcer flare-up, but it was forced Mike Tyson to put his training on hold. So the fight has been postponed. A couple of sources said it might have been canceled. Right now, it's just postponed. I know Netflix says they canceled their July 20th stream of the fight. I think that's where people are getting confused, but Paul and Tyson have come out and said it's just postponed for now for later this year because Tyson's had to put his training on hold. Now that doesn't mean there's not more health scares. I mean, he is an older guy. Been boxing, when you spend most of your life in a sport as brutal as boxing, you're gonna have issues, health issues, just getting beat up so much. Although Mike Tyson didn't get beat up as much as he was beating guys up, but that as of now, it's just postponed. As soon as he gets back to training, they'll probably give us a date. I'm hoping it's still on Netflix because personally, I have Netflix, and that's that I don't have to buy the fight. And unfortunately, I'm going to be a sucker to this. And if they put it somewhere where I'm going to have to spend $75, I'm probably going to spend $75 just because. I mean, I need to be able to talk about it. We're probably going to do a live stream of that fight. I mean, we can't obviously show you the fight, but do a like a reaction stream. I don't know if it's going to be formal like this, or we're just going to set up a camera and have us watch the fight or whatever. But we're going to do something with that, so it's someone's got to have access to it. But let's see, Mike Tyson, after the incident, he took to social media claiming he was feeling 100% and ready to take on Paul. So, I mean, it looks like the reason for the postponing is just the fact that he had to put his training on hold, and in a sport like that where you have to be in as best shape as you can be to keep up, because it's not only getting the crap beat out of you, it's the endurance and training. I mean, if you ever seen, it's just a movie. If you've ever seen Rocky, I think I've heard it's very comparable to real life in boxing. But in Rocky 3, where he could, fighting Clubber Lang, he could only, he had to get the knockout early because he wasn't going to be able to keep up after a few rounds. It's something similar. You have to keep up your endurance, because if you get tired, then you're not going to be able to keep up. You're going to get knocked out. So as soon as Mike Tyson's able to get his training back on track, he may sit out a week or whatever, we'll probably get a rescheduled date for this fight. But as of now, I mean, there's such tight windows for training. Like, you strategically start training a certain time, depending on a certain date, depending on when the fight's going to be. So it does look like, hey, it's postponed. It doesn't sound like a serious medical emergency. He says he's fine now. Incident with his ulcer, flare up. So doctor probably told him, hey, just chill for a week or two on training, which we'll see how Mike Tyson listens to that. But yeah, it was scheduled for July 20th here in Texas at AT&T Stadium. Hopefully it's still at AT&T Stadium. I know you might have an issue if I don't know how long it's going to be postponed for. If you have to push it off till, August or something like that, I'm sure Jerry Jones will make sure there's no, we move whatever around or get that date on where you don't have to worry about a Cowboys game. But obviously, in July and early August, outside of post preseason games, you don't have to worry about a lot happening at AT&T Stadium. So that's the only thing you worry about if it gets postponed for more than a month. Then you're getting into football season. I'm sure Jerry Jones would have this fight a Saturday night before a home Cowboys game, and everybody just works overnight to get the stadium ready. I'm assuming that's possible. I'm not sure, but this is. I mean, it's an official fight. It's not like it's just a exhibition that's going to go against their actual records. As much as you want to put into that, it's still a Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, which I don't look. I mean, Jake Paul training this boxer. I'm sure he's pretty good. I mean, I don't look at him as a real boxer. I mean, Mike Tyson's past his prime, so this is more of a spectacle than anything. But I'm still going to watch it. Okay, moving right along. Yeah, there's less conversation when it's just me, so moving pretty quick through here. We're going to shoot over to do a segment of the thread, which I don't believe I've ever done without Tony and Landon on here, but these uniforms just dropped this week. The Toronto Blue Jays City Connect uniforms dropped, and they look pretty awesome. So let me get that up here, right there. So these are really cool. It doesn't show the pants, but the pants are the same color as the rest of the uniform. I assume it's just black, normal black, and this lighting makes it kind of look like a really dark blue, and that may be the case. But the same hat jersey colors is what the pants are. I like this. It doesn't go too bold, but it is pretty bold. But like the Texas Rangers City Connect, they're okay. I don't hate them, but I think they go a little too far. It's changing up the colors too much, really going black and red. I like the jersey more than anything. I don't like the pants so much for the Rangers. This reminds me a lot of Cincinnati's City Connect, all black. That's why these look a little less black. So that's what I'm saying. I think these are very dark blue, but it could just be the lighting. But these are really clean uniforms. It doesn't do too much. You just have the dark uniforms. I like the hats where you implement the maple leaf. And having the skyline on the jersey, I don't know how many teams have done that in any sport. I know the Mavericks did that a few years ago, where they had the Dallas skyline on one of their jerseys, their City Connect uniforms. I really like this. It has a lot of the key buildings in Toronto. I like the font. I like the fact that you're using 3 colors really on this font, with red, the light blue, and again either the dark blue or black, and then you have the stripes on the sleeves. These are really cool uniforms. We might bring these back next week just to get Tony and Landon's opinion on them, because I know they're both suckers for baseball uniforms. But these are really cool. I like them. Give me your thoughts below. Comment. Tell me what you think of these uniforms. I can't imagine people disliking them. I guess they don't have to like them as much as I do, but these are just so clean, so nice. Like, you can't hate on them, I guess. They even stick for the most part with the colors of the Blue Jays, that light blue and red, and you're just making the dark uniforms. I think this is great. Also, comment down below on anything we talked about. What do you think about the Mavericks beating the Timberwolves? Well, what do you think they're going to do in the NBA Finals? Do you think they have a chance against Boston? A lot of people I've been speaking with say Boston's going to wipe the floor with them. I'll give you my pick on Wednesday on the sports page on that. But let me know what you think, how the Mavs are going to do. Stars, are they going to tie up the series? Are they going to win the series? Are they going to the final? Who are they going to play? Now, let me know about the Tyson Paul fight if you care about that. Don't care about that. You think it's going to get canceled? Do you think Mike Tyson's going to make a recovery enough to be able to keep training? Anything like that. Thank you for tuning in to the Leadoff this week. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a great Saturday and a great weekend. We'll see you next time.